On September 29, 2008, Mrs. McDonald's third grade class visited 4 Mile Creek in Webster, New York. Keep watching to learn all about our science exploration.
In order to collect data on the stream, the Pinkerton family gave us permission to visit their property. Without them, we would not be able to do this research.
We completed a visual survey. We observed the environment at the 4 Mile Creek watershed.
We only saw deciduous trees. Some leaves had changed color and dropped to the ground. There were lots of other vegetation too, like plants and tall grass. On one side, the bank had eroded away. We could even see the roots of the tree coming through the bank. We also observed the stream bed. We saw many large and small cobbles in the stream bed.
Many signs of human impact were observed, like bridges and roads. There are some houses nearby. There is also a culvert near the bridge.
We were sad to see some pollution caused by humans. We saw cans and metal pots that had been rusted.
Someone drew graffiti on the cement holding up the bridge and dumped old tires into the stream. We then began collecting data from the stream so that we could draw conclusions about how clean it was. One student held a handheld computer while another held a sensor in the air to record air temperature and then put it in the water to record the water temperature. The air temperature was 55.5 degrees Fahrenheit and the water temperature was 58.4 degrees Fahrenheit. We noticed that the water and air were close in temperature.
We also measured the pH with sensors. First, we put the sensor in the water. Then the handheld computer recorded the pH.
The pH was 7.86. This was good. We wanted the pH to be close to 7 so that the water does not have too much acidity for living organisms.
After, students filled a long tube with water from the stream. It was our job to record when we could see the black and white pattern at the bottom of the tube.
We couldn't see the pattern right away. Our MST teacher released the water until we could see the black and white pattern.
We could finally see it at 75 centimeters. It had been raining and we wondered if the creek was a little muddy from that.
2 students went into the water to gather data on dissolved oxygen. This means we were finding out how much oxygen the water has for organisms to breathe. Next, we used the nets. 2 more students were selected to be macro dancers. They stirred up the macroinvertebrates by kicking the rocks at the bottom of the stream. The dancers kept moving around and scraping the bottom with their boots so that the macros would float down to the catcher's nets. This way, we would be able to observe them when we got back to the class. Some students liked to touch living things. They helped empty the nets into buckets. Finally, we stretched a string in the water. A student held each end of a string. We wanted to see how fast the water was moving.
Another student used a timer on a handheld computer. We recorded how long it would take a ping pong ball to get from one person to another.
Before we went back to school, we made more observations. We explored and found a woolly bear caterpillar and a frog that was really camouflaged in the grass.
When we got back to school, we observed the macroinvertebrates in trays. Students used tweezers and magnifying glasses to look closely at the macros.
We had to look under the leaf litter to search for organisms that might be hiding there. We also made estimates on how many of each kind of macroinvertebrates we saw by counting how many we saw in one section and adding that number 4 times.
We used a chart to identify slugs, worms, a snail shell, one fish, and one large crawfish.
One of our favorite memories was a runaway crayfish. We don't know how he got out of the tray, but we think he crawls, fouled, or leaps onto the floor.
When we tried to pick him up with the tweezers, he would dig his claws into the carpet. Finally, we put him in a bucket he couldn't get out of.
Our data is inconclusive. The temperature, pH, and oxygen levels are good, but we found very few macroinvertebrates that live in clean water. We are unsure if the water is really clean. We wonder if the pollution is affecting 4 Mile Creek. We need more data. We can't wait to go back to collect more information soon.